Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Super Shenanigans Variety Hour. This is our third episode, I believe. You good?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You good?
Yes.
Anyway, we are talking about Killer7, which is a game that I have wanted to play for like 4 or 5 years, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
Dude, that's me with a lot of games.
Yeah,
Same.
but that's a very relatable statement. But I finally did it. I stayed up till 5 a.m., so
Yeah.
this is going to be a sleepy lead-in.
I stayed up till 2:30.
I beat the game at around like 11:30, so I got a full 8 hours.
We kept making a joke, like when I hit alter ego, I was like, cool, I'm finally where Angelo was at 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so first of all, this is a game made by Suda51. He has a bunch of different games that he has made. I can look him up real quick, just to verify. But I already know some off the top of my head. He did No More Heroes. He did
Silver Case.
Yeah, Lollipop Chainsaw.
Lollipop Chainsaw.
There you go.
Shadows of the
I did some
Damned.
studying.
All them varying qualities and stuff like that. This is the first one that he made.
Yeah.
And this kind of is his
varying quality.
They are
a great way to put it. Yeah, that's true.
Look,
I feel like the biggest one Suda51's known for is probably No More Heroes.
No, for sure.
I feel like that's the biggest one that everyone's heard of.
And don't get me wrong, they're all fun, quirky games. A lot of them have themes of like killing and death and like all that sort of stuff, and it's always presented in a weird way. Quick background: before he became a game developer, he worked in a morgue, like as an assistant. That, I mean, makes sense.
Oh, I thought he worked there as the body.
Yeah. Then he worked for Capcom. Capcom did a few visual novels, and this is his first real game. He worked with who's that one dude? He did like Resident Evil and a lot of different things.
Shinji Mikami.
I believe I saw that name in
it's
the
the
credits,
Capcom producer, but sorry, give me a sec.
Shinji Mikami. I already got it.
Hey,
Ooh, yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I was right.
I thought you would be able to get that.
Yeah, I play a lot of Resident Evil.
Resident Evil's good.
But a lot of this is
maybe that'll be an episode eventually.
Yeah,
for
maybe
sure.
maybe eventually Resident Evil.
A lot of this is his baby, and the loosest description I can give. I mean, I guess we'll just roll with it afterwards. But it is a game about multiple assassins killing things. I don't know. It's just got a bunch of different jobs and stuff like that. It's
It's
a weird.
It's about a really killer 7.
Yeah, there's
It's
7
about
killers.
7 killers that kill
7
times.
people.
But yeah, no. Yeah, it's a hard game to kind of sum up in a single sentence because there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we could just jump right into it.
I would just, to give it a go, I would say surrealist political thriller with stylized art design.
Yeah, I think it kind of hides the fact that it's a political thriller for a little bit, but then it just goes full into it.
There's a lot of stuff early
At least
on
with the
that's
first...
like, yeah, like the first 2 missions, like you're like, okay, like there's a political angle here, but then it kind of strays off a little bit here and there, but then you get those sprinklings, and then it all kind of culminates together at the end, you know.
Very, very interesting. Let's hop into the characters, I guess. That's a good place to start. That will explain a lot of the game.
Yeah.
What about them?
Yeah.
Like what would you like to cover first?
I'm just gonna go down the list of the characters.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll go just gameplay wise and their role within the story, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about this game without the characters because it's so central to everything.
Yeah. I mean, as we mentioned earlier, we have our 7 characters that we play as. The main one being Garcian Smith, and then the other 6 Smiths that we control throughout each level. Right?
Yeah, that's Dan Smith, Khan Smith, Coyote Smith, Coyote Smith, Damask.
Yeah,
Mask J. Smith.
Mask the Smith.
Beautiful, like professional wrestler. Like he gets like charged up like
4
so
times
much throughout this,
and nobody else does. It's the funniest part is no one else gets upgrades like that.
Dude, he is
he
just
literally
so
gets, like,
powerful.
Transformations. Yeah.
He goes up to Super Saiyan 4.
So what Mask is a he's a professional wrestler. With grenade launchers on him, and he actively does like insane superhuman feats, like moving trucks with a rope, like oil tankers, and like blocking bullets with his head,
and having infinite ammo in his grenade launchers with the 3rd transformation.
With his final form, he's just popping them off, just bang, bang. It's nuts.
Another theme in Suda 5-1 games is most certainly wrestling. Well, his first game was actually Fire Pro Wrestling. The absolute fucking wrestling nerd. A lot of the things, like anime and shit, you can see that all over this fucking game.
Comic books too.
Yes,
yeah,
for
plenty
sure.
of like comic book influences.
Obviously,
both,
spy
like,
movies,
American and manga. And then the main thread that ties it all together is this kind of spy movie thriller narrative.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go over the other 7. You got Dan. He's kind of like the best gun out of all of them. Like, for sure.
Yeah, he's got this like thick revolver. He's like this kind of weird, like,
he's
ex Yakuza, like.
So I googled it. Apparently, he's supposed to be Irish.
Oh.
But I did not get that at all.
No.
He definitely
Especially later on when we see a
Japanese
dragon
to me.
tattoo on him as well.
Let me double check just to make 100%.
No, Irish American. Irish American, granted. He's very.
I did not get that feeling at all.
No, for sure. But he was. Now we go over that later. Ooh.
Okay.
Kaede. She is weird.
More of like a sniper
character, but also she like has ghost powers and can.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of all have their own like abilities, and it's like Dan's ability is like more of like just like a charge shot.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan's just good at killing.
Kaede can
zoom in with her scope.
Yeah, well, there's that, but specifically like blood from her body, and use that to like uncover puzzles, like other environmental stuff. Like we said with Mask can like move really heavy stuff. Coyote can jump so high
and pick locks because he's a
pick
thief.
Locks.
And pick locks. He gets 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
He's like
Kevin can turn invisible.
Kevin's
and go
weird.
through like security stuff. Kevin's weird. Like Kevin doesn't really get much explanation really at all.
I think he was I think he was killed or whatever. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
we'll go deeper there later.
I think
we'll
so.
get to it later. But we're just focusing on the gameplay stuff. Even with the characters, all of them have their different tools that they can use to uncover puzzles within the environments. All of them have their weapons to take out enemies. All of their special abilities within combat and out of combat kind of help the flow of the game, discovering things.
And then you got
puzzles.
Harmon.
And then
he has a really big gun and is in a wheelchair.
He's kind of the weird leader of the group.
What if Professor X sucked even more?
What if Professor X was like just evil?
I mean, Professor X already is dubious, so Harmon's just worse.
Evil.
Harmon's a lot.
that
Mhm.
we're gonna talk about him a lot later.
Harmon also is not one that you can generally use. So the mechanic of actually utilizing the different characters is this. There is Harmon and Garcine, which are a little bit more of their own special type of character to play as. The other characters you could switch between at will in the middle of like the environment. If one of them goes down, you have the opportunity to play as Garcian, who can go to the location approximately, because of this game's old, where they died and revive them. But if you die as Garcian, that's like a full-on game over, go back to your last save. And Harmon is only playable during very specific sequences.
Yeah, very specific moments leading up to like a boss fight or certain cutscene or story beats that kind of require Harmon to be there. You know.
Yeah, he is not generally playable in just the levels. He's a special case.
Yeah.
And Garcian cannot switch between the other ones when you're Garcian. You have to go to a save room and switch if you're Garcian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garcian's the main focus, like for sure.
Yeah, he's essentially our protagonist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he, the other two main characters are like, side characters, I guess, are what's his name, Will?
What the contact that he has, the guy that Mills.
Yeah, it's Mills.
He's nice. What a nice guy.
He's nice.
He is a nice guy. He's
the nicest guy.
The entire story, he's just like the nicest guy. He's just like, Garcia, buddy. You know, it's nice.
Then you got
Garcia, they're killing the children. We must stop them. And it's like, yeah, okay, bro. I agree. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. Children are innocent. We have to go stop. We have to go stop the murder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you got Samantha, who's just kind of the save button.
Yeah, she's like
Samantha is a very weird character.
The weirdest character. We're gonna talk about that a lot.
Weird.
And I'm not
this game's
exactly
like turbo weird, but
there are several characters in the narrative. So we'll just say this as far as the narrative. The narrative is very esoteric, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And so I've done some research on like what some interpretations are and stuff like that, but even to this day it's not like a fully figured out narrative that everyone has solid definitive answers on. I
will also say this game it was cut by 3 hours of content.
Cutscene content specifically.
Cutscene. Not gameplay, but there's the plot was huge.
I watched the interview like half an hour ago. So
same.
He said specifically that there's about an hour of cutscene content in the game, and there was supposed to be 3 hours of cutscene content. So they cut 2 hours of cutscene. Specifically, Shinji Mikami was like, "Listen, bro, you're getting a little too lost in the sauce. You have to cut some of this." And all respect to Shinji Mikami, but I think he went a little far.
Yeah, I feel like
it's confusing.
There's some gaps like here and there where I'm like, okay, hold on, like what is this necessarily like tie into or correlate with? And we get enough to where you're like, okay, I could figure out generally what's happening and where it ends up. Obviously, there's you see a definitive end, right? Mm-hmm. But it's I can tell that from playing the game that there's like some missing bits.
I mean, I want more because of that. So you can decide if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah,
I would enjoy and I'm generally a guy who's against remakes. I would enjoy a remake where he actually made the game exactly how he wants, and also maybe back on the gameplay section, maybe smooth a couple things out.
Yeah.
So that's a good transition to the gameplay. So what it is, it's basically the most rail-based shooter of your fucking life. It is.
You hold down the A button,
and that was because it was designed for the GameCube.
Mhm.
Yep. You just hold down that A button and you move.
You use the analog stick to move, and in practice, it isn't actually that bad. But
No.
for the first hour, it is the most confusing thing ever.
Yeah,
I tried my first time playing this on keyboard and mouse, and I almost gave up on the episode.
Was it spacebar? Was it spacebar to move?
So it was simultaneously W, left click, and spacebar.
That's horrible.
I'm pretty sure
That's
it was like 3 inputs at once.
Am I
for the
playing an
walk
MMO?
command.
Yeah, right.
And no, we're playing Balan Wonderworld where every single button just does that one thing. I almost gave up because that was really bad, and I couldn't beat the tutorial, like the control tutorial, because of the Steam version just has things. All of the button inputs are based off of like what it would be on a controller. So they're like, yeah, press the A button to do this. Press the right button to do this. I'm like, what the fuck is the right bumper?
On a keyboard.
You're like on a keyboard and mouse. Like, what do I hit for that?
And
you know
it was
how they
painful,
always
and-
fucking show the GameCube controller on the screen too?
Yeah,
it doesn't
now
do it in
on
this
a-
game, but
On a pro controller, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
like
for
playing
sure.
it on controller is better, but it's still a very non-traditional control system. So essentially the way this game works is it is literally on rails. You do not get to control anything other than going forward or
left
backwards.
You can go
You can
into
go
different
left and
rooms.
right if they give you a prompt.
Yes.
But that's not player controlled like movement per se. They're just going like, okay, you've reached the end of this rail. You're at a junction. Which part of the junction do you go down?
I think so they also only developed visual novels before this game, basically. Like as a studio, Grasshopper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
it makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What if a visual novel was a shooter?
Yeah, literally, because everything that you're given is a prompt, like on screen. Like when you reach the end of a juncture, when you hit that end of the rail, you have these prompts that pop up, and if you're in a save room, it's like, oh, you can hit the TV to upgrade your characters, or hit the save, or move out of the room, and proceed on your way.
So the real depth of the game, and I'm gonna say depth. I mean, it is good. I think it gets a little bit dulled out towards the end. But it's because there's multiple different characters with very different weapons.
Yeah.
Besides like one or two, maybe that kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like Coyote's gun kind of sucks. Maybe it gets better once you upgrade it fully, but I think it's just a worse version of Dan's gun.
It is. It is.
It might be better for
In my
criticals,
experience.
but
Yeah, it seems like you use Coyote more for his utility rather than his fighting
environmental
ability.
and puzzle.
Otherwise,
solving
like
ability,
Khan is great if you need to like shoot a lot of bullets.
if
Dan
you gotta go fast.
Dan kills everything.
Yeah.
We already went over the rest of them. Kevin has a knife. He's not
I
really
never
good at
used
that.
Kevin in a combat situation even once.
No,
Kevin, I found, was very good if you're trying to hit the weak points on
if you want
enemies.
blood.
So if you want blood, which is a system in the game where if you kill an enemy, you get thick blood, and you're able to basically use that, turn into vials to upgrade your characters. And if you hit weak points, you get thin blood, and that allows you to do special moves like interact with the environment. You use up a vial of that, or you use a vial of that to use a character's, like, for example, Dan's charge up ability, right? Like you have to use 3 vials of thin blood to blast.
Mhm.
And Kevin
you can
was
also
really
use it
good
to
for
heal.
yes, and you can use it to heal. So Kevin was very good for farming that because his knives were very pinpoint,
yeah.
at least for me.
I found personally, whenever I tried to use the pinpoint stuff, it was harder.
Really?
Because of the hit detection on the game isn't great because it's
No.
very aged. So when I tried to be more precise, it actually ended up making it harder.
Yeah.
Because of, I think the game is like, okay, we're in precise mode, where if you use Dan, I think the hit radius is a little bigger. I can't guarantee that, but once I stopped trying to use like really pinpoint accuracy, I started getting way better results.
I think it's also the waiver mechanic too.
Yeah, whatever that waiver mechanic is.
Which is it's the sway of your crosshair. So there's a little bit of artificial
kind of bounce there.
Yeah, so if you upgrade it a lot, and some characters I think are just better at it, like Kaide.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh, you got to max Kaide on that. That's her whole point.
That's the only thing I did. Nothing else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It worked. That's generally it.
Yeah, I mean, really, like every single level is all basically.
You fight different types of enemies that all play off different mechanics of these.
Yeah. Yeah, like some enemies you have to use mask for because his explosives can either like insta kill them or like the enemy has armor, so you have to use masks, grenades to like do damage because other characters' bullets just bounce off. There's a lot of actually. I think that's a thing I really like about this game is the enemy variety. And it gets a little stressful because of how aged this game is. Like when you're trying to switch characters on the fly because you were running around as Khan and there's a big armored guy and you're like, oh shit. And you try to switch
gotta be masked now.
And then you get fucked over.
The mechanic of damage is basically if the enemy gets near you, they jump on you and explode. And it's pretty horrifying. It happens in the story too, often.
Yeah.
It's very much the way I would describe it is imagine an arcade shooter.
Yeah.
It is an arcade style shooter where enemies go towards you, and instead of like a shooter, maybe like a movement shooter where you're trying to outmaneuver enemies and blast them, or a tactical shooter where you're keeping positioning and stuff in mind and cover. It's just it more comes from the weakness system where they will have a weak point on their body and you have to blast it to kill them instantly. Or use something that they're particularly weak to, like
explosions,
a charge shot or an explosion or something like that. So that's where the primary, I think, meat of the gameplay is through those shooting mechanics. There are also puzzle-solving mechanics, but they're really easy.
Yeah,
I think the puzzles weren't really that hard.
I don't hate the puzzles.
No,
I don't hate them for the most part.
Yeah. It's just some of the later puzzles get a little jank. And you could elaborate more on that, Shaymin.
I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. I think they get to play around with the weirdness of it a lot.
Yeah.
I will say, though, because of the lack of maneuverability, I found myself getting pissed so much.
Yeah, I found myself getting like jumped so many times because I'm like not able to hit a guy, and I'm trying to move away. And then they just all jump on me.
But and then there would be like 5 guys in a room and they spawned like around the corner and you don't have enough time. There's a lot of moments where I think the game can kind of, because it's very experimental, it's not a type of genre that there's a lot of refinement in, can be very rough around the edges. And when we were talking earlier about the mechanic of Garcian going and reviving like dead characters, Garcian sucks to play as.
Yeah, he's terrible, and if he dies, you lose. You just if
he dies, go back to your last save point, where you actually saved. And it's very hard to kill enemies as him, and he doesn't have like a ton of HP.
He's a cleaner.
No.
He's a cleaner.
Yeah, he says that every time. Every time you go to choose a character and you land on him, he's like, I'm a cleaner.
I'm gonna test because we played this game on call together. I started malding every time he said it because I get so mad.
No, I love
it. Oh, cool. I'm the stupidest fucking cleaner. I die in like fucking 2 hits, and there's like 8 million guys in this hallway.
That's not my job. That's Dan's job. I'm a cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. The button. By the way, every time you go to revive a character, you have to furiously button mash.
It also
is such a silly mechanic. Like, oh yeah, I
funny.
Sure can't wait to walk 10 steps and then button mash and start all over again.
Yeah, like it's literally like you're doing like I don't know, like CPR.
Yeah,
except it's a bag of meat because it's an explosion.
Yeah, and you do it to a bag of meat.
Like a paper bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there are points where I think it can get a little overwhelming, and I think they go a little too hard with some like respawning enemies. Is a very common mechanic in the later game.
Oh
later
yeah.
chunk of the game, and that can get like
Annoying.
incredibly frustrating. And I'll say the first one thing that also really kind of annoys me is that you don't keep thin blood in between levels.
No.
So you start a level and you have like no heals or blood to do special attacks. And it wasn't the worst in some levels, but the fourth general level, like the city,
Yes.
that opening area
It's
was
rough.
so ridiculous
Yeah.
that I spent most of that level trying to get through that chunk because there's so many respawning enemies that just come and kill you.
Mhm.
And it doesn't feel like it was made, like that level was made with the mechanics of the movement in mind, because it's such a wide open space, and the enemies are not generally limited to the same movement mechanics as you are.
No, they don't have to move on the rails. They could cut corners. They could, whatever.
That being said,
Especially in wide open spaces. In some more interior areas, they have to like kind of traverse. Like,
yeah,
for
if they
example,
gotta
like,
traverse the
in one of the
environment.
schools,
Mm-hmm.
they have to go around desks and stuff, so you have some time. But in a wide open space, they just
They just come from all directions right at you, and
Yeah.
it is like
it is really no. It's fun. It's stressful. It is so stressful. Genuinely.
Yeah.
But
And
that's what the game's going for, and it is
Yeah.
satisfying to like see a bunch of enemies like running at you, slowly turn around because the controls are bad, run like 5 feet away, and then tear through them. That's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
it is a good feeling once you kind of get that momentum down.
Once you find an infinite or reliable infinite spawn and then farm them for blood for like a minute and a half, then you're okay.
Yeah.
I will say, anybody who wants to do a hard mode Garcian only speed run, that is an option.
Yeah, no, I'm never doing that shit.
I will give you
Oh
a
my
handshake.
You also can't. So we forgot to
it is a
mention there
pretty
is an
hard game.
upgrade.
We played on normal.
There is the upgrade system with the thick blood, and Garcian does not get to upgrade the same way the other characters do. So you can't even make him
He just
better.
has like a terrible silenced pistol, and you have to hit
That does
weak points
no damage
perfectly.
and takes forever to reload.
If you don't hit only weak points, you're not gonna get through with him. You
Yeah,
just
you're
gotta do
screwed.
somebody else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Find a closer
okay.
Harmon room, which is
Yeah.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
the shooting mechanics though are in their prime, which I would say is generally the more cramped environments, where they're more linearly coming at you and you can see them all coming, I think it's really fun.
Oh, it's super fun. Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
But when the game isn't set up with
Open
that more ideal
environments.
formula, it can be kind of
It's a bit of a
dicey
drag.
sometimes.
It can be a bit of a drag.
those giant enemies are the worst thing ever.
Not
Oh, the
really. bro. You
giants?
just
Unless
hit 'em
you
with
unless
mask
you use
wall.
mask.
It's because I kept running around as other characters, so I didn't switch to mask enough. So
Yeah.
the giants just kept falling on me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh great.
Mhm.
Like it makes you want to think that you're able to shoot them in the eye. You can't.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mission 3 for me was kind of like the most annoying in terms of just like all the shit that you have to do there. Well, what's that one called? Cloudman? Yeah.
Yeah, despite the fact that I complained about its very first area, I think it was still probably my favorite level.
What,
really?
that like initial school
That's a good
building?
Well, no, I mean like the Cloudman
Cloudman?
is the one with the dude in the yellow shirt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the general, like after you get through the opening town area,
Uh-huh.
I love that level.
Honestly, that's a good level.
Oh, for sure. I think it was only rough until I figured out how to play the game properly.
I also really liked, I think, is this the first Smile part where you go into the house and then you can go into like the back house that's behind it and stuff like that, and there's like
Oh yes.
between the two, and you have to find the most soul shells, which is a collectible that you have to pick up in almost every level. That felt like the game finally in like its its biggest groove, where they had a lot of enemy variety. The level design, I think, was the most well thought out.
You know how to use the characters.
It was the most developed, I think, puzzle mechanics wise, where it was the only time I ever missed anything in the game where I didn't just steamroll and I went like, oh, I missed something.
Yeah.
And which one are you talking about? The
it's Epstein's House Part 1.
Oh yes, that's I know exactly which one you're talking about.
With the pool area and stuff like that.
We'll talk about this during story.
My favorite environment. Yeah.
About his house.
I think that was probably my favorite environment. Yeah.
What do you guys think of the boss fights?
Yeah, let's just get to that.
Yeah, I think that's a good evolution because I think we basically talked about everything else in general gameplay, like levels, handling stuff like that. Some of the boss fights are
pretty stinky.
They're kind of lame, bro.
I think it's worse in the beginning, too.
Yeah.
The first.
I think when they try to do more like experimental or like just kind of more like cool shit, like some of the duels and stuff that you get later on, that's when it's like really kind of neat.
But then
maybe not the best mechanically wise, but like when you're Dan going against what's his name, Curtis Blackburn.
That's a really great fight.
Epstein. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, so that might have been my favorite fight. It's super easy, but the premise is you guys are doing like a Western draw, and the signal to fire is a bird leaving his shoulder, which is kind of really funny too, because the bird likes to psych you out.
Yeah.
The bird will be like, I'm gonna fly away. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, it'll go, and then just like cop back on. You have to wait to hear it coo or whatever.
I didn't mess up a single time during that fight, but I did think it was fun.
It was a cool thing. It looked cool. Style over substance.
The Power Rangers fight was cool until I figured out it was scripted.
Yeah.
And it didn't really matter what you did, because it's impossible to lose when you're meant to win.
You fight the Power Rangers in this game, by the way. It's very...
you fight comic book characters come to life Power Rangers. It's pretty neat.
The worst one by far, I think we can all agree, is the businessman fight.
Terrible fight. You can tell they're visual novel developers before this.
bro, that fight was so fucking
Did you look up a tutorial? It's okay.
Yeah, I did. I forgot.
Yeah.
I also had to answer this because of the audience didn't know that I definitely did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had to Google what to do.
Yeah,
because it's so specific. Exactly what you have to do is you have to shoot these two. They shoot these little mounds of flesh from their heads.
First of
fire them at you. You take them out. Then you shoot the guy on the right in the tie. That will then somehow cartoonishly flip his tie up, and then the guy to the left will then go to adjust it, exposing his weak point. There is no indication that is what would happen.
And his weak point is
to do that.
They're basically corpses with their brains blown out.
They got blasted in the head earlier, and
it happens in the story. It's cool.
Their brains exposed, and that's their weak points. And then after that, this is the one that's even more ridiculous. You have to
just go to the other side.
Projectiles. You have to start on the left and then go to the right. And then if you do that, then and only then will the guy on the right with the tie look at his already defeated friend for approval / backup, exposing his weak point.
Yeah. It's such a weird hitbox too.
Like, it's his brain that has floated out behind his head. Like,
yeah, like these two characters, like their heads were like blown off earlier.
Did we adequately explain guys? Smile, by the way?
What was that?
Smile, just as a thing.
We could do that in this. We could do that in the story.
Okay, it'll make a lot more sense when we talk about that.
Yeah, but like these two guys are weird, like undead puppets, and like you see like their flesh, their faces are all fucked up, and like it's just such a weird boss fight that's just bad. I don't like
I
it.
think it could have been so cool too. The framing of it is
Yeah.
super neat. I thought it was so cool. Like oh man, that's a creative way of using their weak point. It's just that the steps you have to take are so specific and non-obvious.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't come easily to you. Like it doesn't like feel natural.
It's not like, oh yeah, if I shoot his tie, of course it'll blow it up. No, it'll go through the tie because it's a bullet.
Well, it's like his chest is invulnerable, his body is, so why would you shoot his tie? It's like not even.
I don't know.
It's like colored
kind
the
of
same.
ridiculous.
It's like blue.
And for the record, you can totally try and shoot off at their heads. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Like, there are angles where you can definitely hit their dome,
And
but the game is like, no, you can't, because you didn't shoot his tie first.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the best fight, I think my favorite fight is
the anime girl fight.
Oh, the anime girl fight's the only one that's like a real boss fight.
Dude, that one's like, yeah, it's the only real like video gamey boss fight, and it's so funny too, because she goes to like this whole Sailor Moon, like whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they have an anime.
I'm
character.
a child kidnapper. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, literally, this game has some serious subject material. So when we talk story, we'll have some. We'll throw it up.
I'm just gonna just throw it at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
In text.
Thank you, because the game does it, so we should do it too.
Editing Liam's job. I was just gonna put a disclaimer at the beginning.
Eddie, Liam, cut this out. This is embarrassing.
Edit Liam. Edit this in.
Okay, yeah, keep it in. Keep it in.
No, edit it in.
My dads are fighting. I don't know what to do.
All right.
One says leave it in. One says cut. But yeah, her fight, her first fight is cool. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah.
And her second one just goes on forever.
It just goes on forever, and it's just kind of like it's not as hard.
No, it's easier because she's closer
the first
to you.
One, it's easier because
she's not
smaller room,
moving around like a whole parking lot. She's just like moving back and forth against a wall.
Who'd you guys use for that boss fight?
Mask.
I did Mask.
Oh, I used Mask at the end. Mask was the better choice.
Yeah, because you could just like once you up Mask's radius of his blast, like she's fucking done for. Like you're like bang, bang.
Well, also you can splash damage her.
Yeah, also it's explosions in a very small radius.
Yeah.
And usually that works out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just kept blasting the floor next to her and she died.
But generally, unfortunately, I think the boss fights are not bangers.
No. Narratively, they're cool for, the story, what they're going for, but in terms of, like, just pure gameplay-wise...
I love Cloudman's boss fight.
Probably.
They probably are like
go in a circle one time.
You have to get around. So what he's like invincible and he walks towards you. If you go around him, his afro is flying, and if you shoot the afro, then he dies.
He dies instantly. So you have to go in a circle once,
and it makes it look like it's a 3-phase boss because he kind of half dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then he just dies.
Yeah,
if it was 3 phases, it would be okay. Honestly,
yeah.
He's probably my favorite character, though. TBH.
He's fun.
He's got a great
shit.
voice too.
I liked him narratively too, like what he means for the story.
Yeah,
We
symbolically.
shall get to that. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there's a lot of great symbolism, a lot of great.
I mean, we might
as well
just
game.
Yeah, I think like we've covered gameplay. Do we want to just talk about like art design first and stuff like that, or do we want to go straight into?
Let's talk about art design, please, Angelo.
Ooh,
give us your take.
Yes,
you're the professional.
My time to shine. So honestly, I love this game's style. I love everything about it. It has, in some areas, and like, I draw the comparison because it gives me a lot of the same kind of like, magazine cutout type vibes as like Persona 5 in a way.
Yeah.
Where it has that kind of like,
I didn't even say it.
Area.
This is Persona 5, by the way. This is actually just Persona 5.
It weirdly enough, like a lot of this.
You're gonna have to edit that. Sorry, bud. It's too loud.
No, but no, I feel like so basically the game's in a very cel shaded style. very almost plasticky character models, but I think it works really well because of a lot of the base color is shadowed by different shades of gray. Like it's always this kind of weird gray shading on the characters that you're playing as, but the environments are so out there, so surreal, very abstract, especially in the Union Hotel. I think that was one of my favorite environments when you go up each floor and like you see the different complementary colors working together. Like an entire area of like I think it's like floor number 4 or 5 where it's like
the blue
this
one.
blue, yeah, the blue surrounding and then like the orange highlights for like the trim. Yeah,
the art design gives a lot of anxiety too.
Yeah, like there's a bit of like horror design in this as well that I really enjoy with the smiles, with the enemies that you face. There's a lot of great like monster designs and a lot of scary imagery and wild character designs for the bosses that you face.
There's also a guy who just does cartwheels towards you.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, I usually just shot him.
Yeah, that's what you do.
That's what you're supposed to do. But overall, the game.
Good job.
I think one of my favorite things, just design-wise, and it was so fun narratively, was the Power Rangers, the Alter Ego mission.
Yes.
Where you get the animated, like anime-ass cutscenes in between like sections and stuff, and that's the only mission that has that. It's just so nicely done. The animation's like super slick too. It just comes out of nowhere, and it's just so it's like eye candy. You know, it's really enjoyable.
I'd say my favorite pieces about it, minimal line work on the environments.
Yeah.
The cell shading goes like this is when cell shading was like
peak
in its prime in gaming, bro.
It looks great.
Yeah, this is like the Wind Waker era.
This is from the GameCube, and I still think it looks good.
Yeah, like this GameCube game kind of holds up visually for me just because of like it's stylized in a way that still holds up, that's still very, energetic and enticing, and at times very moody and dark. There's a lot of great contrast there between environments that you go to, like, once again, the Power Rangers one, you're in the Dominican Republic for one of the areas, and that's super like very bright tropical, and then in another area
too, like very glaring bright white.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then one of the final stages of the game is this super dark, like kind of grim looking elementary, or I guess like private school,
school, yeah, just vague school,
vague private school,
with Japanese design characteristics. Me and Shaymin were talking about it. It's like a Japanese school. American schools do not look like that.
It's such a Japanese ass school.
Could you imagine a video game with an American school? That's terrifying.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
All the nightmares. I'm like,
Another thing that they do that's so great, this is the other thing I really like, is that a lot of the times the floor would not be a different color than the walls and stuff like that, and it would make like a very strange dreamlike vibe, because of like, obviously in real life that happens almost never.
Yeah.
They have a funhouse section. And
like the whole amusement park. Honestly, that was really cool.
It's really trippy.
When you're going through the maze
and
like,
the ceiling
the
and
walls
floors.
And the floors, like the wall, ceiling, and floors are all the same striped pattern. So you get this illusion that you're just kind of walking through, like nothing's changing, but then you wrap these bends around, but you don't see the corners of the walls.
They're also reflective, if you've noticed too.
Yeah.
So like the floor is reflective, so it's super trippy.
Yeah, it's so neat. A lot of great just visual design.
And character designs, too.
Yeah, I also love a lot of the menu looks, like the whole TV flipping through the channels to choose your characters, the types of pixel art and icons that they use, the whole blood bank thing's really neat. Just a bunch of great concepts, just visually.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was just a gorgeous game all around. And no complaints at all.
The soundtrack
it's
too.
Great. The
The soundtrack awesome.
it's hard to talk about the soundtrack in like depth because of none of us are music guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's just good. It's just so good.
Yeah. Like when it needs to be atmospheric, it's atmospheric. When it like pumps you up a bit, it pumps you up a bit. Like
It's
one of
lots
my
of
favorite
EDM.
tracks, and it just shows up for like 2 seconds at a time when you're going through the staircase to the boss area or whatever mini boss you have to face. Just that kind of very upbeat track.
Yeah,
It's just kind of
the techno.
yeah, I just kind of
Mhm,
stopped
and the-
there, listened for like an extra 5 seconds, and then moved on.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
kill something.
They even
Yeah,
use the
exactly.
music as cues for puzzles. So when you aren't
Yes.
correctly doing the puzzle, going down, 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 it just essentially the soundtrack going like "Lamau, dumbass." But the thing that makes it so funny is that like it does that regardless of whether or not you are in the process. Like you can have the right thing and just haven't started the puzzle yet, and it'll still be like, it's like I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything yet.
And then once you solve that thing, you get like a
It'll go,
nice
blum, blum.
yeah, you get a nice little guitar play. It's
Mhm.
very very satisfying too, like having that auditory feedback,
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
also, if we're just gonna talk not even soundtrack but sound design as well, the smiles when they show up and like you
They
can
always
do the
do
little
this
laughter,
laugh.
you're like, ah, fuck, you gotta just turn around or whatever.
It's the
Like
stock laugh sound effect
Circle
in every
around and
MMO.
spam the scan button.
yeah,
Just blast their head off, and they keep walking at you.
and you're like, oh fuck, oh, here they come. Yeah.
Only issue is sometimes smiles will not laugh when they're like close. And I've been screwed by that because if they're invisible until you scan for them,
Yes, you have
and
to
the way
find
that you
them.
know that they're in the area is they laugh.
And to scan,
Yeah.
you can't do it while walking. You have to aim. And
Yeah, you have to aim,
um,
scan, and then you could hit
and
the B
sometimes
button to
they'll-
lock on.
Sometimes they'll just spawn in
yes.
and you won't know. And then they'll get you. They'll start laughing when they're like 2 steps away.
Yeah, it scares the shit out of you sometimes too, because you're just walking,
Hey.
you don't hear it, then you hear a laugh, and then you get exploded, and you're like, oh my god.
As long as you're able to kill them before they're like within those 2 steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Story.
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the story.
This is
The
the main-
narrative of this game. So does anyone know what it's about?
Spoilers be ahead. I mean, we're obviously gonna
No way!
put that in the beginning, but big
No
spoilers.
spoilers!
So if you haven't played the game, play the game, please. That's my review.
It
of
is a good game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not too long. Just don't try and do it in 2 sittings like I did.
Don't do it till 5 a.m. one night. Like going through chapter 2 to the end of the game.
Yeah, I went from I did Cloudman up through the end of the game, which is like pretty much. I might as well have just done it in 1 sitting.
Yeah, do a guy a week when you play.
Yeah, like I broke it up.
I mean, a
within,
day
like,
per week.
I try to do like 2 missions, whether it was like an Act 1 and an Act 2, or like Act 2 and then the next chapter if it didn't have any acts.
Yeah.
Within like a gameplay sitting, and then I would be like, okay, let me take a break.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play more, I would go back. If not, then I would just wait till the next day.
My work/school schedule did not allow me the time to spread it out like that, unfortunately. So I just went we ball. We're playing the whole thing right now because the episodes tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's a great game, and I would recommend it for sure. Just as long as obviously, if you're watching this at all, you either know us or are super based.
Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to the beast fella
or whatever.
So like if you're just like a person who plays like very normal traditional games, maybe I don't know because it's a very experimental game. If you are a person who enjoys games as like an art form and are more willing to get into like the experimental, I hesitate to say necessarily underground because it's not like Suda51 is like really that underground. He's not like mainstream corporate, quote unquote, but he's not like he's popular.
Yeah,
I mean, this was also his popping off point mostly.
Yes.
But like a little bit more of like a less mainstream style of title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that sounds right for you, then go for it.
Yeah, and even if you're looking to diversify your games library a little bit, I'd say it's definitely worth giving it a shot for sure. you
Goes
know?
on sale on Steam all the time, apparently.
Yeah.
It's a
Give it a shot.
it's a
Have fun
great
with it.
classic game from the era that a lot of people love. It's a great starting point.
Anyway, now that all those losers who haven't played are gone,
Oh, thank God. The fucking
thank
stories.
God, get out of here, audience.
I don't know what happens in the story.
Let me show you. Let me show you the door.
So I was a little confused by the story at the start. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Only at the start.
Only at the start?
Well, at the start, I was especially confused. By the end, I was still confused, but I understood generally what was happening. Generally.
You got enough.
In the loosest story. Yeah, I got enough out of it. There you go.
You got enough to say you think you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say it because I don't want to seem dumb. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
I don't want to be wrong in front of the hose.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. That's me.
Generally, you start off like the first section of the game is just introduction to the smiles and all that. You meet a weird, creepy ghost guy. We haven't talked about Izumaru.
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 Or Izawaru, I think.
Izuwaru.
Yeah,
Yes,
Izuwaru,
it's a W.
yeah.
He's very
I
pessimistic.
don't know what to say about Izawaru. As a
He's the most
character, is
Japanese
why.
character I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So
Narrative function, I am confused on.
He just
Yeah,
tells
'cause-
you like how scary everything is.
yeah, Iwazaru, he. So like we have our little like ghost companions that kind of give us hints or like tell us
You can
about
see dead people.
Yeah, like we could see our
Your boy Travis.
yeah Travis Travis. No, but
He's great.
apparently, so what I gathered out of it was that all of these ghost companions of ours were previous marks
Mhm.
that either Garcian or one of the Killer 7 took out in the past,
Yes.
and now they're kind of these ghost people that follow us. And that point is really cemented later once you see like bosses that you killed show up as ghosts and give you a
Mhm.
little bit of story info.
And they'll go, thanks for killing me, bro. Actually, that was pretty chill.
Yeah. Some of them will be like, I actually wanted that. Thanks, man. And it's like, what?
Now that it's happened, I'm actually pretty okay with this.
Yeah, but you get these ghost guys that help you out with either puzzles or give you hints or give you story details, and we get introduced to a lot of them at this beginning school location.
You start to learn that after the school location, I believe, you kill one of the Smile Angels.
Yes.
I don't know. It's like a girl with some
It's
wings.
like a weird anime angel girl.
I was very confused on that element for sure.
Yeah, I don't
know where that came from,
but
and it doesn't really come back later at all.
There's one cutscene where there's two like I think
it's
kids
very
who talk like old
Madoka
people.
Magica-esque. Like actually,
Yeah, it's so odd.
Then afterwards, like you get a weird flash of the moon, and that's where every transition in the game.
Yeah, every time
a different color of it.
Mhm. Which I also have no understanding on the significance of.
He said every game has this that he does. Like
has moon transitions.
Weird
in particular,
weird moon symbolism. It's like foreboding. It's like he says that the moon's watching you constantly. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but
yeah, that sounds
like
this sounds like a
weird,
code.
like,
This sounds like
subcoded.
him not telling you what it is.
Yeah, it sounds like just some weird metaphor bullshit that he's just like, it's the moon, and you're like, all right.
He's probably giving us
I'm
some
like,
hint
well,
there. There's
Well, I
some
don't care if the moon's watching. The moon is just up there. What's
Matt
it gonna
Pat.
do?
You got like one more theory left by the time this video comes out. Maybe
Dude, that'd
two.
be so
Yeah,
awesome.
Killer
If
7.
Matt Pat's final video was on Killer7 for some fucking reason.
Yeah. No, but we get a lot of kind of world building after our introductory mission. After we, get to experiment with the characters at that school, face that angel, and then we as Harmon shoot the weird green ghost guy, Sun Lan, I think his name is,
I think it was Kun something.
Kun.
or Kun Lan, or
Kun
something
Lan.
like that.
He's like weird green Dracula. And
Yeah,
he's
like
like he laughs a lot.
Yeah, he's like the Joker.
And
Yeah, he's kind of just like Dracula, who's the main villain of the game, but also he doesn't show up for like until the end again.
he also made all the smiles.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like the originator of the smiles, the Heaven's Smiles, which are like these terrorist bomber demons.
Yeah.
They're
killing political figures.
This game covers a lot of ideas and themes. And
give us
like
the history.
But the primary themes that it ultimately ends up covering is like just the political system in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how the system's played, how it could be taken advantage of, and the use of like pitting countries against each other, very geopolitical conflict. And talk about who's truly the most powerful person in the world, and a lot of discussion like that. And
the answer is your school principal.
Yeah.
That's we're jumping to the gun there. That's the
we'll get to.
It's just fun to say. It's fun to say it without the context.
And it's right after the first mission where we face that guy, the Green Dracula man, where we get a lot of kind of initial world building for the Killer7 world. Where at some point in the 1980s there was like a UN meeting that
they dismantled
world peace.
Yeah.
They like got rid of all nuclear weapons,
and everyone was friends until they weren't anymore.
Until Green Dracula Man made Heaven Smiles and bombed a UN.
What they used to do is every year they used to shoot all the nuclear missiles into space and make fireworks for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, in the cutscene, they shot them way too low. They shot them so
low. Everyone would be like,
I'm irradiated forever.
Yeah.
But, it's like a lovely symbol of world peace.
Kind of. Kind of. It is also definitely a strong arm tactic of showing, like, well, listen, this is what we could be using.
Yeah.
Is one of the points. And also, just a major theme of this game is that world peace wasn't really. So, world peace does not necessarily equal utopia.
No.
Because of this world peace exists with so much crime and corruption and just evil within it. And so, while the world is technically at peace, the people in charge of it aren't benevolent or even necessarily peaceful.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of violence going around.
Yeah. Especially with, like, some of the early stuff. Moving on to target number 1 was that we have to kill, like, a Japanese politician or something or other, essentially, right? Like, it's a lot of, like, making political power plays, and a lot of Japan versus America in this game as well. A lot of playing upon the old... like kind of bad blood between there, and kind of touching upon a lot of, like, what happened during World War II, and then mentioning that again with all the nuclear armaments and weapons and the U.S. trying to strong arm their way into Japanese politics.
And is it the end of that mission where they do send the barrage?
Yeah.
So they pretty much at the end of that mission go, fuck Japan.
Yeah.
And send like a bajillion missiles to blow it up.
Yeah.
and then they do. So yeah, all at the cost of world peace.
Oh, because they're like Japan's scheming.
Because there's going to be no problems anymore. But again, like that's a huge sort of point where another major theme is, you're right, like the East versus West, and how like
there's culture
Japan
class.
has slowly started like manipulating the political process, either for the sake of trying to have their own power or for survival, depending on which point in the narrative you're talking about. A lot of power plays are made. With the next one, the next mission, the Cloudman mission, you're sent in to investigate a government-sanctioned cult.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a government controlled like city, like in the middle of nowhere,
based
in
off
Texas.
of some guy.
Yeah,
he's got a cool afro.
Following Ulimeda, right?
Yeah, something like that. Ulimeda.
You go to Olmeda City, and there's Olmeda action figures, and the ghosts.
And he won't let you in unless you collect all of them.
Yeah, and the ghosts that you find there are all cult members that view Olmeda as God, as their kind of ruler. And it's all based off of this corporate distribution center that the city's based out of, and it's supposed to be like the hub of where everyone works. And a lot of people quit early, so there's always new hires and new people moving in, and all this shit going on. And it's just all such like.
It's in Texas, by the way.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's all like brilliant commentary on just capitalism in general.
Well, we'll also say too, the company. So the character is meant to sort of almost be like an American Dream character.
Yes,
where they started off as a mailman who was not particularly even that good at it. Like he was described as like, yeah, he did the job, but not much else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And slowly through his own genius, developed a company that like controls the lifestyle of the global population, but secretly all it really is just like a middleman shipping company.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make anything or do anything. It just kind of like takes something from over there, puts it over there.
But it has great advertising.
It has great advertising. And his building isn't real.
No, the entire building's a cardboard, like a wooden cutout. That's
giant
painted on.
Two-dimensional cutout.
And it falls over once you walk into it.
Yeah.
He secretly operates out of it like a tractor trailer.
Yeah, and he's basically just this like government like puppet and experiment, like he says that he was like injected with every virus known to man, and like he's basically like this lab rat, this guinea pig, and that's what this town is. It's just a town of guinea pigs that the government is testing with.
Mm-hmm. And he, as we were saying with Power earlier too, he's a character who through this American dream kind of shows how ultimately, even if he has all this control and stuff like that, and his goal is to try and get even more power, he ultimately really isn't in control of that much.
No.
He's just, he's just trying to make something of himself as everybody is, but in the end, there's really only so far you can get without like governmental like control and step in and other people with massive power to put you into that position. He doesn't really have that much power. And I would say that's really the same with every mark in this game, is that it's a person who's stepping past where they are supposed to be in power.
Yes.
Yeah, they're overstepping, and now they're being punished for it. And that's essentially our role.
Via death.
Yeah, that's our role. We basically we are basically capital punishment, going through and eliminating these targets because they overstepped the boundaries of their power.
Almost exclusively United States government power.
Yes.
I think there's one example of them being like from like one Japanese Democratic Party.
They're also like Japanese American things and stuff like that. It's weird because it's a Japanese person trying to explore America from the inside.
Yeah, it's so interesting what they're doing with this game's narrative, for sure.
It was their attempt to appeal to a Western audience, and it's pretty interesting. Yeah,
it's a very interesting look at how our own systems work and how even though this game takes place in a fictitious 2014, 2015, I don't know.
That was
there's
just
some
like
similarities.
2014. What are you talking
There-
about? Do you remember the smile virus?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. All the smiles. I remember. Yeah. Walk outside, hearing laughter, and seeing my neighbor get blown up by a monster.
By an
You're right.
invisible thing because
By an invisible
because you
thing.
don't have scan.
Yeah. Nobody else can really see these smiles or kill them except
Besides
for
the Killer
us.
7.
Yeah, besides the Killer 7. So,
Mhm. That's why the government hires us.
and we basically get mobilized by Harmon to go to each of these targets for most of the game. In these weird, like in Garcia's trailer, like I had to keep
It
turning
is
down the
so
volume 'cause-
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's so weird because you just hear like screaming from Harmon's room and like weird like panting and stuff, and then you go in there and
Metal clanging.
And you'll just see him and Samantha doing the most heinous shit of all time.
yeah, like either she's
We-
riding him like a pogo stick or like
Beating him.
or beating the shit out of him, and he's just this old man in a wheelchair at the
Mhm.
yeah,
at the
he can't
trailer.
speak. He's in a coma.
Yeah, he's basically like comatose, and it's horrific. But then when you activate the TV and talk to him directly, then he like goes, we have to go stop this guy, or oh, you have to go kill this person. Go
Yeah,
there, do that thing. And it's so odd.
And Samantha
It's so
becomes like
surreal.
super prim and proper as a maid.
Mhm.
Garcia like
When
oh sorry.
when she's on the clock, quote unquote, in her maid uniform, she is essentially like just like a normal sort of servant character where she will save your game and stuff like that, and she'll be nice
Like Persona
and
5.
like courteous. Yeah, just like Persona 5. It's just like Kawakami. And then when she's in her like just casual attire, she won't save your game. She will berate Harmon and just be. I think the word they use is like a menace or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
She menaces that poor old man.
She does, and gets killed for it.
Yes. Yeah. She dies.
She dies.
Spoilers.
He wakes up and kills her, I think.
Yeah. Maybe.
We don't really know.
Maybe.
We don't really know. She just kind of shows up dead, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and then just an old guy with no name shows up and replaces her.
Yeah.
Back on just like normal like narrative progression stuff like that.
So right after Cloudman, right after Old Maida,
Is he the artist one after that, or is next?
It's Epstein next.
Oh, Epstein's next. Okay, so this is a wild arc.
This one's a little dicey. So
it's
or
great.
not a little dicey. It's dicey.
It's a two-parter.
It's dicey.
It's dicey, but the thing is like, we take out the pedophile. We take him out.
He's also
but not because he's a pedophile.
No.
But because he's killing other pedophiles, and the government doesn't like that. Because he's a government-sanctioned pedophile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intense.
It's messed up.
This would never happen in real life.
Remember, 5 trigger warnings before this part specifically.
Yeah. We
I got it.
Established. Yeah. So. But yeah, this one's nuts because basically we have insinuation, or not insinuation. We're like flat out told that and I'm not even talking about the pedophilia angle. I'm talking about like the past between the organ harvesting, but also the past between Dan Smith.
I forgot he's also an organ harvester.
And the guy Epstein, Curtis Blackburn.
That's his
like
his known thing.
Yeah, like
that's his cover.
So Curtis and Dan, were they like a master and pupil situation?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, another government-sanctioned pedophile frames Dan for something. I don't remember exactly. I think frames him for like overstepping, organ harvesting, whatever. And then Curtis was hired to kill Dan, but Dan obviously got out alive somehow, and then
Mhm.
later,
Well, he did say
well,
he killed him. So
yeah,
one of the things about this game is like death is not necessarily a permanent end, and you can
mhm.
come back.
Obviously, with all the
Maybe, I
dead
don't know.
people that
It's
you're
one
talking
of
to.
those things where like dead and alive is really hard
Uh,
to track for a lot of characters.
By now,
Yeah.
you're starting to see bosses that you've killed talking to
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
and giving you advice on how
you're
to
able
beat
to
the level.
yeah, they're ghosts and stuff. And like we said earlier, before we even jumped into the story, there's a lot of different interpretations and stuff that was that people talk about with this game. So this is just kind of all us racking our brains trying to figure out what
Yeah,
this game is
we,
trying to
we
say.
beat it circa like 12 hours ago.
Yeah. So
Um,
we're really putting together what we have just experienced. So it's a good raw like
mhm.
piecing together, but there's going to be a little bit of that.
Sorry, guys, we don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, it's a weird game. It's so weird.
But
Well,
yeah,
well-
so ultimately you are sent there because of um his partner tried to monopolize the child organ trafficking industry. The way they had it split is Curtis had the girls, I think, and
Yes.
the other guy had the boys, and the one with the boys was like, actually, I want to have everybody. I want to have all of the children.
Yeah.
And then Curtis is not chill with him trying to cut on his market, brutally kills
Him and his whole family.
him and his whole family, and the middlemen, the immigration center. So another bit that also makes it bad is they're definitely like immigrant children and orphans
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah, because they're explicitly said to be like orphans,
Mhm.
at least some of them. So it's all these like kids that are down and out on their luck, not from the U.S., just being used in this horrific system of
Mhm.
literal human trafficking and organ harvesting. Because another thing they mention is since there has been war, um, and whatnot, and like no real market there, um, blood and stuff is hard to come by or something or other. Like it's weird. Like they mentioned something about like why organ harvesting is so important at the moment.
I think it
But
had something to do with the Heaven Smiles.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. So it
Um,
had something to do with the terrorist force that is the Heaven Smiles.
At the end of this, we're going to try to piece together what we think the Heaven Smiles are. That's a little hard.
Yes.
and you chase Curtis around for a while.
Yeah, you go into his house.
You kind of unravel, sort of.
You kill an
this
anime girl.
child trafficking ring. But again, not necessarily. Some like Garcian is against it for sure.
Yeah, Garcian's like children are innocent. Like this is fucked up. Like we need to take them down for that.
But the rest of the Killer 7, especially Dan, does not really give a shit. There's one part where I thought this was really funny.
Hey, hold
where,
on. Mask cares. He cares a
That's
lot.
also true. Mask does
Mask
care.
always cares.
Because Mask is
He's the nicest
Mask
guy
and
ever.
Garcian, yeah. Mask is honestly like the sweetheart of the Killer 7. He's such a good boy.
Dan, when he first like starts interacting with Curtis again, like right before their boss fight, I thought it was really funny how the first his primary thing he goes up for is like, "You're old now." And it's like not that you're like an evil pedophile drug trafficker. He does not give a shit. He's like, "What do you think of my hobby?" He's like, it's just what the immigration office is doing. So really, like, whatever.
Yeah,
it was like he does not
Dan's
care.
like Dan's like it's just part of the system.
I'm just here to kill you.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, he's kind of just like, dude, it's weird, I guess. Whatever.
There is a point like after you kill Curtis and like you see these horrific like like dead bodies like strung up basically on like meat hooks, and then Dan has a moment where he just kind of looks at them and just goes, like he looks a little uncomfy, and as he leaves, he's like, oh, this is
disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
I think it's like they're making those people into like dolls or suits or whatever.
I have no idea.
I think I think it's a organ harvesting machine that also looks like a car wash.
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying. I also said this. The graphics are too undetailed for this scene because if it just looks like he's getting like hit by car washing, like the stuff that scrubs, but then it's definitely meant to be spiky and sharp.
Yeah.
But because of the way it's textured, it does not look like that at all.
Also the way it's colored too. It's
Uh-huh.
like colored like a bright blue, like
Yeah.
Blue and red.
stripes in it. You're just like,
That's a car wash.
this is just a car wash?
There's
Yeah.
bubbles there too, wasn't there? Or was that blood?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that is the artist, right?
Yes.
Yeah. After that, we go to
That's
the Dominican
so
Republic,
weird.
where we go after the comic book artist who's writing stories that seemingly come true, like the assassination of a Democratic politician or whatever, and like we just have to fight his Power Ranger knockoff guys at the end, but we find out that it was all like kind of like the whole thing's like a marketing scheme by some major corporation that the government's pulling the strings of or something or other.
Well, yeah. Essentially, the Power Rangers are a propaganda program.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason that they were killing,
They're called the
you're-
Handsome Men.
they're called
by
the
the way.
Handsome Men. You're
They're
sent to
also
kill the
handsome.
artist because of everything that happens in his story ends up happening in reality. And he thinks that makes him the most powerful person in the world, but really, like, his power only extends so far. He's more of a means to an end and is replaceable. At the end of that chapter, he does get replaced, and the Handsome Men do not disappear after he dies. In fact, they're the ones who kill him. You don't even kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them just shoots a laser at him. With
Yeah,
his eye.
shoots a laser. It misses you and kills him.
Yeah, Dan dodged it.
Yeah. Dan's so cool.
Yeah.
He's so hot.
So I think that is a very interesting section of the story. That was one that I think it took me the longest to figure out what it had to do with the rest of the game at all.
Yeah.
Because it's very, I'd say the rest of the game, I think, kind of builds upon itself in a very like natural way.
Yeah, it all has
And
like
it's like, and here's
cohesion a little bit.
here's the Power Rangers side arc. But
Yeah.
now that I like think about it, I see where it comes in. One important element of it is, of course, the propaganda element, and how, you know, even if you are the person who sort of controls people's perception of reality, you are doing that under orders.
Yeah.
You are not the person who gets to mold that reality. You're just the one who puts it into place, into print. And also in like more of like a meta sense, it also kind of talks about just like the comic industry as a whole and just entertainment industry as a whole.
Yeah.
And in how like even after an author dies, the franchise will continue. They're just going to replace the author. They're just like, oh yeah, the author died. Well, we're not stopping with Handsome Men, so here's the new writer / artist.
It's just a comment on the serialization of big comic book superhero characters. I mean, you look at the original creators of all these different superheroes, especially like Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, who got shoved out of the way. The creators of Superman. And they barely get a fucking buck for what they created,
And as far as like just a character too, Superman as a character has evolved so far past what they originally wrote that it's just like it's almost like weird to look at like how that replacement changes the product, and it's like a very sort of like, I don't know, pessimistic, I guess, critical look at like the death of the artist in the entertainment industry. And how the author, even if you are the creator of a character, you're not as important
as the legacy of that character.
As the legacy of the character, you're not as important as you think you are in that, which is really interesting.
Also, a thing that comes to mind, even when I was playing, do we think that guy actually had the power to?
No.
Right? No. Or was he being fed that information?
I don't think he had that power. No.
No, I think he was being fed that
because he died, so it didn't go the way he said it was going to go. And again, they don't disappear after he goes away. It's not a power. Yeah. He did not will them into existence. They existed, and he was more of just a propagandist.
Yes.
To try and add credibility to the propaganda, they set that scheme up.
Yeah.
Deciding how much shit is real and isn't real is so weird.
Yeah, and it gets so much worse after this level.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It gets so
Fucking,
much worse.
Right after this. Yeah.
What is it? Black? I forgot his name. Damn it. The previous boss.
Oh, Blackburn.
Curtis? Or oh yeah.
Yeah, Curtis Blackburn.
Yeah, Blackburn. Like he flies in the cutscenes or
Oh.
whatever the fuck. I think that might be
you
just
mean,
to speed
you mean,
up.
the Green Dracula man, right?
No, I mean like in the introduction cutscene when he's walking up the room and killing everybody.
Oh yeah.
I don't-
yeah. When
I
he
don't
has
know
that
if he's
weird
like
zoom.
flying or it's just a speed up device. It looks like
Yeah.
it. It looks like he's just hovering across the fucking hallway.
Yeah.
That
Don't
might.
worry about it.
Yeah, there's so many weird surrealist moments where it's
because
like,
like
is this
some
real? Is
people
this
have
not?
superpowers, some people don't.
Yeah.
The Power Rangers obviously have superpowers.
Yeah, and then like
They have the superpower to script their boss fight.
Yeah, they have the superpowers to be like worse versions of us, mostly.
yeah. So after we do the Power Rangers superhero thing, it's all
Crazy
Shit starts to hit the fan.
politics.
yeah, this is when Samantha dies. This is like
Yeah, you
pretty
go back
immediately
home.
after this.
This is where several characters start to die.
Yeah, and there's a lot of unaliving in this game. A lot of characters like in cutscenes just eat a bullet a lot for whatever reason, whatever political, espionage, whatever manipulation they're going through. And even other diplomats like the one Japanese guy that they say has like 10 million voters or whatever to help control the system.
Well, it's not just voters, just agents installed.
Agents
Yeah.
installed in one state. So that state always has that one vote. It's
Exactly.
10% of the vote.
And we got a lot of like kind of a lot of these like kind of through lines getting put together now, like they're starting to come to a head. Yeah, this
I
part's
gotta-
weird. This
I
part's
gotta
really
look at
weird.
exactly.
Really hard to like really
Describe.
articulate.
All right. So what happens is this later? Hold on. Let me just see
I have it in my notes.
exact. I
yeah.
believe this is when you go home and Samantha dies. Then you go into the back room and you see
You're
Garcia
playing chess.
and the
Yeah,
fucking
Harmon
main
and-
villain of the thing, Kun, just playing chess. And Garcian's just like, what the fuck is going on?
And then he
Pretty
just
much.
leaves. Yeah, he just walks in, stares at them.
And then they're like, get
Harmon
out.
like has a stroke, and then the green guy's laughing, and then Garcia just leaves. He's just like, all right. He just
Yeah,
goes.
that was one of the most confusing scenes ever.
Yeah, it's so odd because
We'll talk about that there in the end.
I
But
think, yeah, like Garcia like saw through the veil for a second and then had to leave because he wasn't supposed to see that.
well, then
yet or
afterwards,
something.
he realizes that, oh shit, Harmon is not helping us anymore. He's been compromised. I'm on my own.
Yeah, like the master.
If he was
the master is
ever,
missing.
quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Because they say like he thinks
that's
in
what
his head,
Garcia
like,
thinks.
Yeah, the master is missing, and then Mills is like, bro, I got some bad news.
and then he gets shot 800 times.
yeah, literally, like Mills is like, "Oh, buddy, like
I'm gonna
30
explain
years
what's
ago,"
going
and
on
then
in the
he gets
plot.
fucking
He's
riddled.
like, dude, you didn't figure it out yet. And he's like, bro, come on, let me just.
Then you jump off a
So-
bridge.
Yeah, and then you go to the Union Hotel.
And then Mills just goes once you're at the Union Hotel. He's like, you might as well just figure it out yourself now, bro.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm a ghost. I'm dead. You just got to figure it
You
out.
got
gotta
this."
Put it together."
He's like, just play the level, you'll find out.
I played through the level and didn't find out.
No.
It's very hard to
It's
describe,
possible.
and I had to Google exactly what happened.
I understand now.
What, in the first part of the Union Hotel, or like even just this entire part? I think just
The
all
entire
of the,
part.
Yeah.
This is the part where I feel like they really could have used a little more
extra
cutscene,
Yeah.
maybe a little more,
Uh,
because of this is the part where it started getting like a little hard to follow.
Yeah. because we go to the top floor. We were met with these two guys in shadow, and they're like, "You're too late. Just go to this other place. We're sending you on this thing. You got to kill this the Japanese politician guy with the 10 million voters in the state or whatever."
And then you go to like middle / high school.
You go to
Probably lower.
You go to
You go to your Black
totally-
Widow training school.
It's basically it's the Black Widow Red Room program, but in America with this school that we find these tapes in, and we listen to this FBI agent going like, "Oh, this is controlled by other governments sending in people, and then the U.S. government is also involved in establishing some of these Red Room participants in high political positions."
Essentially,
wild.
the government. It's the classic. The government is not as democratic as you thought it was type of twist.
This is literally going like, "Oh, you thought that the president was in charge and like he's the most powerful person." No, the person in charge of, what do they call it?
The education ministry.
Yeah, the education ministry. That person, the head of that's the most powerful person in the world.
He's the one who picks the president. He's the one who installs everybody into office. The principal of your school is actually the most powerful person on the planet. And also, at one point, Harmon was one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Thus benefiting from that system, compromising him further.
Mm-hmm.
And that at one point that Garcian was a product of that program.
Yeah, we learned his name was actually Emir Parkreiner, and he was supposedly born in the 1940s and then died in 1950 something. And then now you're like, wait, is this just like them taking the name of some dead person,
family,
attaching it to like this immigrant kid, and then just raising a killer? Or is this all just some weird like afterlife, like
revived,
seen through this lens of this undead assassin piecing his life together?
Most of this backstory is found in the eyes of just some government agent. I forget exactly what department, but it was just external to this. And then he's looking in, and he's discovering about this weird Emir kid.
Fun fact, by the way.
We are skipping a little bit ahead with that, but that's fine.
Travis does call you Emir at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's true, yeah. And throughout the entire game, you get these like
memos,
letters and memos from these carrier pigeons that say Emir, yada 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 yada, and you're like, who the fuck's Emir? Like,
who's this guy?
And then you're like, oh yeah, that is to me. And the final one you get is from Samantha,
who I think killed the memo writer.
Yes.
Yeah. They killed the memo writer, and it's like, we'll see you in the principal's office, Amir. And then you go talk to the principal, and he shares all that information.
And
like,
he becomes a boss monster.
He's
from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this entire ending of the game's fucking wild. And we're not even at the true end.
We're not at the biggest twist, which is even harder to explain.
Yeah.
Because if this one's a little easier because there is straight up definitive answers. The political system is rigged by like the global governments are all contributing to this, and that the people who control education groom children for roles in political office, thus keeping the system intact.
Yeah.
Thus ensuring world peace through authoritarianism, but at the cost of no actual real freedom.
Yeah. And like essentially they say that this new UN party, the one that like established like, oh, no more nuclear armaments, like they're young, they're green, like they are basically trying to work against that system, and that's why the US shot nuclear missiles at Japan in this game, because they're basically trying to keep that system intact and stifle any opposition.
So yeah, very cool political twist. That one was the hardest part to follow. Now, part 2 of this mission is where it gets ridiculously hard to follow.
Yeah.
Because now you get no enemies. You're just going back through the Union Hotel, hitting each floor.
Did you talk about
And
how
you
everybody
see-
died, by the way? I blanked out for 1 second.
That's what we're
No.
about to
We're
say.
literally
Okay.
just about to say.
Oh, no, I mean like
Here, you-
beforehand.
you-
Like in the school.
Oh,
Yeah, they
what
were.
do you mean? Everybody?
yeah, during
Yeah.
the boss fight. So
During
what
the boss
happens
fight.
is you get this. There's this golden gun, but only Garcian can pick
Oh,
it up, and the
that's right.
only way to beat the boss fight is
To let all
there's
the-
these
Invincible
7 invincible
enemies.
smiles who will kill your characters until only Garcian is left. He can pick up the gun and kill the last one, and now you can only play as Garcian.
Yeah.
And then you go to the hotel and you find out. So one thing about this game that I guess we didn't choreograph that well, TBH, is that they're not. It's really ambiguously worded, but they're called like personalities, and they kind of
Yeah.
almost seem to share like a single body that more just transforms.
Yeah, they
Except
share
for
a
that one
last name.
segment with the Power Rangers, which really threw
Yeah.
me off because I'm like, oh, they can all exist next to each other. So like, it kind of was like unclear. Are they really different people? Are they one person who can transform? Is this a man's delusions? And the answer is
Yes.
yes.
To all of them.
Yeah. Yes to all that, because
Uh-huh.
we see in these flashbacks as we climb through the Union Hotel, Garcian, or I guess Amir, or whatever we want to call him now, is killing every single member of the Killer 7 that we have been playing as
Mhm.
in these grayed out flashbacks.
Mhm. And absolutely annihilating them.
Yeah.
The one where he killed Coyote was so fucking funny.
Yeah,
I'm
that
sorry,
was
it
pretty
was
good.
so
Coyote got
funny.
fucking outplayed, dude.
Coyote got
just
outplayed so
outmaneuvered.
hard.
He was
Bro-
naked.
bro
He was running into
hiding
his
against
house.
a wall, taking cover behind a wall, waiting for Garcian to come through the door. So instead, he just goes to the next room, goes out the window on the connected balcony. Which, by the way, holy security risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just shoots him from through the window, just directly facing it. It's so funny.
And Coyote's so it's so embarrassing for Coyote too, because he's just in his underwear. He's in tidy whities as well. Like
Mhm.
he's just the most.
I love him. He's great.
Yeah, it's and I don't know what it all necessarily fully means. That Garcian killed all of them before.
One more thing. The last person he kills, Dan, who's
Yes.
originally was the leader of
Mhm.
the group. You find
the
that out.
original, the original Killer 7.
And you can see right here, here's the image. I wanted to double check this because I thought so.
That looks like a job for editing, Liam.
Right there. Maybe get a better one. But you see Dan, and this is the scene where both of them, Dan talks shit and then pulls out his gun, and they shoot.
Yeah.
Originally, I thought that, Garcian just shot first. They both shot at the same time. Point blank into each other. And only Dan dies there.
Also, apparently, Garcian's supposed to be 13.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
13.
And is still mad tall.
Yeah, supposedly, I feel like we're just viewing Garcian through some sort of
I think it's
like
his
I said,
own
some
perspective of
after-
himself.
some weird afterlife lens or some shit. Going through all of his
But you
previous
still
steps.
see what he looks like. And he's still
Yeah.
pretty tall.
And he's still
how he
pretty
looked
huge.
back
He's just
then.
minus facial hair.
Mhm. And in shittier clothes.
Yeah. And we reached the top of the Union Hotel, talked to Mills for one last time, and he's like, "Oh, Garci, why are you crying?" or whatever. And it's like,
Someone
what's
like
happening? You were previously this emotionless killer, and now you're just kind of this lost person. And we meet the real Harmon Smith, who's been controlling us or something. He's like, "Oh, I'm
I
Harmon."
don't know.
And it's this young guy instead of an old guy, but he has similar facial structure, just darker hair,
Yeah.
and obviously
He's
looks
just
younger.
clearly young. Yeah, he's just clearly a lot younger.
And it's so who is the Harmon Smith we've been playing as / have been seeing, or is that just like a future
Are they
version
the
of that same guy?
same? Yeah.
Yeah, are
what's
they the
going
same
on?
guy? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then you
Then we
go riddle bullets in Green Dracula Man and old Harmon Smith.
after you go into the Forbidden Room, which just so happened to be in this hotel room,
Yeah,
which the Forbidden Room was always named in the in Mike Garcia's trailer house.
yeah. So it's just like weird connections, like it's so ambiguous. And then after we kill those two while they're playing chess, we go up to the roof. There's young Garcian, and we shoot him in the third eye, and then Garcian cries.
The end, kind of.
He opens
The
up his
end, sort of.
briefcase that he carries around all the time, and he sees all
Oh,
the
yeah, that
weapons.
Which
Yeah.
reveals that, like,
It's
probably
definite.
it was him being all of them, but also how did they? I like.
What is the connection to Harmon there?
I guess he imagined that all of the Killer7 were with him during the Power Rangers fight.
So-
Yeah,
But yeah, it is shown that probably it's just Garcian hallucinating.
yeah, his like own delusions, his
That
like
he
fractured
is
mind.
he is
So-
the Killer7. He's all of them.
I think
Yeah.
I killed the 7.
I am the Killer7. That's what he says.
Yeah,
No, he did. I wasn't saying it's just. I was just saying like I have killed the 7,
I have
'Cause he
killed
did.
the 7. Yeah,
which is funny because I called that on my first play.
Oh, I
session.
think we all did.
Yeah,
to some
yeah,
degree.
I
It's
did
not
too.
that.
I literally said like I am the Killer7, but not actually though. I haven't beaten the game. I'm on the second level.
yeah,
It's a suspicion, but it only gets like deeper and deeper as it goes on, and it does a good job playing with it too. That twist.
Yeah,
So, epilogue.
Epilogue chapter.
chapter 6.
3 years later, you have green eyes now.
Yeah.
And you're over your delusions of I am the whole Killer7 team. You're just Garcian,
Yeah.
who sucks a lot less now because of the section is like 10 minutes long, and also they couldn't afford to have you play as normal Garcian against those enemies because you would have just not beaten the game.
You had the golden gun
Yeah.
and one shot everything.
Yeah, you
It's a fun
just hit
feeling.
the auto aim button and just go.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then
You get through that area. You meet with what's his name again?
The guy with 10 million whatever
Mhm.
agents. You
And
meet
then
him.
then he goes like, "All right, so who you gonna side with, bitch boy?"
and then you get the choice as the player.
Uh-huh.
Do you
And then
kill him or don't kill him?
And
With
what
those
do we
political
choose?
implications, I let him.
We should break down the
live.
political a little bit.
Yeah, so basically, like, this guy gives you the option of like, oh, like, you just overall ending thoughts on Killer7, I guess.
Mindfuck, absolute mindfuck.
Yeah,
I love it.
What do
it
you?
was really fun.
How? So, what is Harmon's deal?
I don't know. No
Ooh.
clue.
That's a good question.
I think Harmon isn't real, but he's like
I think he's
A
definitely
government.
real because of he shows up.
I think
oh no, I mean the
100
one
years
that
later. Oh, young
mean,
one.
the young Harmon.
the
Or
one
you
that
mean the old-
Garcian communicates with throughout the whole game, like in the
I think-
TV and stuff like that.
I think that's just a
Government.
what I think it is like
thing.
a subliminal, some sort of like government influence there. Like basically what Garcian has seen is the old Harmon that was basically his principal when he was at that school.
Mhm.
Is what I think. And then this young Harmon
Ooh,
is the one that's actually pulling the strings, telling him what to do, who to kill, where to go, but he sees it through the lens of what he remembers from school.
does that also?
So is this all a delusion of Garcian's?
Does that also
Yeah.
connect with Samantha there?
I'm not sure.
'Cause Samantha's a
also, I
student.
would say I definitely think that old Harmon Smith was a real physical entity.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think he was a part of the same. First off, because he's not a traditional combat unit.
Mhm.
He's not actually technically one of the Mike Bumplemau. He's not really part of the actual Killer 7. He's more just like their leader
Yeah.
/ advisor. I definitely think old Harmon was real, and in a way, I think, especially with that like very ending scene, I think the implication is more that he's more of like him and Kunlan are like immortal beings forever, and with the chess symbolism and stuff like that, eternally locked into a game of outmaneuvering each other.
Yeah, basically
Constantly
like
repeating their cycle.
like a constant battle between like I guess order and chaos, you know.
That's what I read out of it, at least.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I have no readings on young. I figured that he was the fake one. That young Harmon was probably not real. But I can't substantiate that in any way.
Yeah.
No, that's a
Or
very
maybe-
hard thing to do.
Maybe since you're going through all these flashbacks when, you know, Garcian's supposed to be like 13 years old in that final section of the Union Hotel, that's just what Harmon looked like when Garcian was like 13, and the current Harmon is just that old man.
Mhm.
That old man in a coma.
Yeah.
Oh, we also forgot to mention the funniest mindfuck at the end. The
Yeah.
the Iwazaru one.
So
Oh.
so the banging, the hell noises that you think are in Harmon's room, they're in the basement. And you go down the basement and you find the first smile.
The
Yeah.
quote unquote last one, yeah, like this is the last
This
one.
is the
and
one
it's-
that originated
it
everything.
ends up being your guide, Iwazaru, who now with his mask off is revealed to actually be Kunlan.
Just in bondage gear.
And then you kill him, and then the game ends.
So
yeah.
how
It's just like okay.
what's the deal with Smile? That's the next question there.
I don't really know. I think if we were to go through the order / chaos reading of things, it would be that element of chaos.
Yeah.
Who created it? Is it the US
I don't think so.
or Japan?
No,
Because of the smiles actively harm most U.S. government operations.
That makes sense.
yeah. I feel like it's just
But also a lot of the I'm trying to think of other ones that were infected with Smile. I'm pretty sure one or two of them were. No, the Japanese politicians were.
the Japanese politicians and then Umeda.
Umeda did it to himself. He just wanted that.
Well, no, he explicitly tells you like, if I become infected with a smile, I want you to kill me.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Like he
Mhm.
explicitly tells you that, so it's like,
Oh, I thought he
I guess
infected
He tells you
himself.
that he's kind of scared of it.
Okay.
yeah, he's like, oh, I'm fucking terrified of this thing.
He's like,
kill me if I become it."
I've done all of these things and become immune to all these things. The smile virus is not the same.
Mhm.
It's a different beast. It's gonna get me.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think like, you know, for a second in my head, I was like, are the smiles even like going with like the more surrealist aspect? Are they even real? But I do think they are. I think that's pretty concrete. Like they are real. They are affecting political and, you know, global events. Like
They
they're
are generally responsible for a lot of the turmoil in this
Yes.
landscape,
yeah.
and they kill a
So-
lot of civilians on camera.
Yeah. So they're real entities. It's just such a weird virus zombie bomber thing. It's so odd.
The way I look at it is the smile in Harmon's basement, or I guess Garcian's basement, technically.
Yeah.
That was the originator of all of it. So why the fuck does Harmon have that?
Yeah, and then also, like, there's also a line I think said by either like Yun Harmon or something where it's like, oh, like, you know, when you killed like the Killer 7 or whatever, like this evil awoke inside of you, Emir, yada yada, like insinuating that we could also be like one of the originator causes of the smile, like smiles, and that we're and that's one of the reasons why we can see them and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of shit that I wish could have been expanded upon.
The smiles are the ones that I really, because of, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's so interesting about it too. Like that's one of the things that's so fun is just the pure chaotic like horror. You know, like the nature behind them. Like what are they? Like these horrific. It's almost Lovecraftian in a way where it's like there's no real explanation. Like you can't really wrap your mind around it.
I didn't think we mentioned this too much. We probably should have, but inside of the buildings, there's lots of smile creatures that like are part of the architecture. Like are just flesh things, and then they just create more of them. So it's like an infection inside of these buildings.
Yeah, infinite respawning.
It's
until you kill them.
You get a lot of what the smiles can do in the first area.
Yeah,
and that's exploding random people. Was that Samantha who blew up in the beginning, by the way, that girl?
I don't think so. I think it was some random...
Because she has the same hair.
Susie. But Susie died a different way.
Yeah, Susie, one of our companions, I guess, on the journey.
Companion, she's a head.
Yeah.
She's a head you find in a washing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she killed a lot of people. I think it was Susie.
I think they mentioned that she died a different way, though, I think. But again, it's hard to track what death means for some of these characters. But I could have swore they mentioned what actually killed her.
Yeah.
I remember she shot her boyfriend from her window.
Let me double check if it's the wiki and see if it says what killed Susie.
But, yeah, man.
The Smiths killed her. It says because of she's one of the ghosts that shows up. That because of a lot of the NPC ghosts that show up, like we said, are victims of the Smith group. And you can find a log for Susie. You can find a log, I think, for Travis.
Yeah.
They're all people who were killed by the Killer7. So it could not have been Susie unless she was alive again, but I don't know.
Or that was just in your brain. It's equally possible for half this fucking game that half this shit is made up.
I would tend to believe it because
I prefer not.
It seems to be a concept that is
a political factor
throughout the entire game. That the targets of the Killer7 show up as ghosts. That reigns true throughout the whole narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would trust it.
Yeah.
It feels to me like the smiles are I think afterwards we're pretty much sorted. We can we can talk about what all right, anyway.
After
the smiles feel like a political entity in the way they act. You know?
Yeah, right. Like there's a lot of targeting specifically like politicians or
political UN.
And
the UN, literally the game's entire conflict sort of does start, at least with that kind of preamble before your first target, after the tutorial school or whatever. The entire preamble does just go like, oh yeah, the Smile showed up at a UN conference and blew it up.
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the first appearances of them. So they're like, Count Chocula has some sort of evil, like chaotic plan to just, basically throw chaos and turmoil and this sense of unbalance within the political landscape.
Yeah, maybe that's why Izabur was so bitchy the whole time.
He's so bitchy.
Dude, he's so bitchy. And
I thought it was funny.
Talking to him.
Just suck.
He got mad at him.
What always happened is they position him after the puzzle, so I would solve the puzzle because it's easy, and then go up to him, and then he'll be like, "No, you're doing it wrong." Blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, puzzle happened. Already.
Well, he starts off like anxious and like annoying, then he kind of like gets hostile towards you as you progress through the game.
Yeah, he gets a little aggressive. Yeah,
he's trying to tell you to like stop doing what you're doing. Yeah. He wants you which makes sense considering that he's cool.
Of that later or early on. Like I remember seeing a spot early in the game, like literally in that first entire section, where I'm like, oh, let me just talk to this guy real quick. And he's like, don't go any further. Stop.
Mhm.
Turn back. You know, like you're gonna die. Go
Turn
back.
off the
Don't-
game.
Like turn off the game. Don't do this. And then I'm like, fuck you. I just continue on.
I have to record a podcast.
I'm like, I gotta do a podcast episode on this guy. I'm sorry. It was alright. I would, but I gotta record the podcast.
Yeah. Last thing, who's your favorite character? We'll just go with that. There's some. I think the characters are really strong in the game overall.
I think I just really like Garcian. I don't know,
Cleaner.
man.
Well, he's the only
he's a cleaner.
He's the only one out of the actual Killer7 team who I think
Got
really
real
gets
development on
ton
camera.
of development. While
Yeah.
I enjoy some of the personalities of the rest of the Killer7 team, they're not really like
Fully fleshed out characters.
they're not important individuals per se. Like
Yeah.
like they're more like functioning as narrative tools than as actual characters.
It is a little unfortunate because the original intention of the game was to have like full sections of each of them.
Yeah, I would say some of them you can feel a little bit of that. I feel like
You get a bit.
Mask upgrade
and Dan.
system and stuff you can get some from. Dan gets some stuff. With
Khan and Kevin get fucking nothing.
jack shit.
Can't get shot.
Yeah. yeah. Khan gets blasted in the back of the head by Garcian. Yeah.
That's about it.
Even
Um,
Kaede, the girl of the group, like
Mhm.
she gets nothing.
You get some
Like, she's
backstory
just like-
in some
she's
documents.
just
You like my
pissed
makeup?
sometimes.
I'm pretty sure she killed her husband.
Yeah, that's
I would have no idea.
I think that was said in one of the documents. Is like she's fucked up. They hint early on that there's a traitor in the group, which is pretty funny considering.
Garcian himself.
Yeah,
Is
it made
kinda
me
like the murderer of all of them.
it made me believe that Kaede was some form of traitor against them because it was right after
no,
that sentence.
I didn't feel that at all.
Well, no, but
Because I feel like that would have been lame because they didn't really build her up at all.
well,
Yeah,
I think it. I think
I
Travis
think he
said
got
something
bait
early
and
on.
switched.
Yeah, for sure. Travis was like that traitorous bitch. Like, okay, God, what'd she do?
Oh.
That was like the
Travis.
first level, so
or maybe,
obviously
or
we
maybe
didn't have much
she's
content.
the one that killed Travis. You know, maybe
That
she
might be
lured him in and then killed him.
Travis is probably my other answer.
He's so nice.
Travis is fun. Travis is so funny.
I love his.
Oh, he has no like gameplay help. He gives
got drip.
a lot of. He gives a lot. Well, yeah, his shirt changes literally every time you see him.
Yeah, it's pretty baller.
And he also, I think, while not serving a ton of gameplay function, serves to be probably the biggest source of expositional information in the game.
Yeah.
Where he's more of just a character to go up and be like, "Hey, Smith, shit's getting fucked, and this is why."
This is the political
Anyway,
landscape.
good luck with that.
Yeah, like he'll literally explain to you, like, oh yeah, like the U.S. versus Japanese, you know, like this whole shit's fucked up. Like, are
And
you
I-
willing to do this? And you're like,
It's like, I don't care.
Oh God.
I'm just here to ball. I'm just here to shoot things.
I'm just here to play this game and kill people, dude. I don't know, man.
And yeah, I don't know. I liked him, and he had nothing better to do but to figure out information for you because he's dead. Like, what the fuck else is he gonna do?
Yeah,
Sit in the box as the decapitated head like Susie does?
yeah,
It's just jack shit. Yeah.
God. Sorry.
yeah.
yeah. No worries.
I gotta tell the kids to shut up. This is why I record earlier. Unfortunate.
That's
considering
okay.
I'm going to sleep. Give me a second.
It's not okay. They killered the 7. How could they do this?
Yeah, we're trying to kill her the 7 right now, and these children are fucking it up for us.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe it.
I can't even begin to imagine what a thumbnail of this is gonna be like. I have no ideas for this one.
I was thinking like the TV select type screen or whatever, but then like
Ugh.
I don't know.
What time was this? 1:57.
Oh, there you
Dude,
go.
I'm just gonna watch it through all the way anyway. You don't have to mark it.
You don't want me to mark it? You sure?
Well, the thing is, it's kind of going to be hard now because you also just kept posting what time we were at, and I have
Yeah.
to try and figure out.
Yeah, you didn't post like
What-
the times to
which-
cut in the
I'm
editing
gonna
notes
delete
and what
those.
to.
So like, it didn't really do anything.
The ones that
Yeah.
are marked with things on there, like with text, then it's good. I'll delete the rest of the fluff. That was
Okay.
just for recording.
Well, there was another time you left too, and I have to find that because you didn't mark that
I
other
forgot
time.
that one. That's my bad.
So like, it really isn't that. I have to watch through anyway.
Yeah.
We'll get that system down, or you can just not do it. And let Liam watch. it.
Also, do you have your Discord notif sound going, Shaymin? Because of
No.
I could hear every time you went. I heard the boop every time. I'm like, God, I sure
I don't
hope
have
that there's
a
no
Discord
boop
notif.
in
I
the
didn't hear it.
recording.
I
Okay, good.
I don't have that. I hope you don't hear any background noise from like my headphones or there.
I don't think that will happen.
I sometimes see
no,
my
not
mic
much.
spike.
I
a
just
little bit.
meant off of desktop OBS recording.
Nah, that's fine. I'm on Do Not Disturb. No notification sounds.
Oh, dude,
Notification
that's
sounds are
beautiful.
stupid. All right. This is. I'm still marking it anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, throw that in editing notes rather than voice chat.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna put that in properly.
I was gonna say that too.
I'll just do
But
that
I
next
didn't.
time.
I didn't want to stop the show and just be like, okay, shit ass.
All right, dickhead.
I forgot that was a thing. Here, hold on.
All right.
I'm gonna write that just real quick.
Okay.
VC, and then I'll clean it up afterwards. Because I want to make it at least look okay in editing notes. So that is 59, basically 2-hour mark.
Cool.
So we're on track.
Yeah, and with all the little interruptions and stuff, like we'll basically be
shame,
on
man.
2 hours.
All right, ready? Book club.
Yes. All right. Book club. Book
Book
club.
Book
Book club.
Book
Book.
club.
Book. Okay. Whoa! What are we reading, watching, or enjoying this week, fellas?
Besides Killer7.
Besides Killer7. Besides Killer7.
I would
besides
just like.
killing the
I would
seven.
just like to use this brief tangent that I'm on the Suda51 wiki or the fandom wiki on the
Uh-huh.
Killer7 page, and under designer they just listed it as staff of Killer7.
Based.
And it's a link to the page of the staff of Killer7, but I just think it's funny that it's listed that way. That designer, the people who made it,
Suda51.
Yeah.
Who else?
the people who made it. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, somebody start off. My book club's gonna be boring this week. I've been busy.
Yeah, I don't know. What did I read
my
or
God.
watch? I watched some old Doctor Who. I started the 4th Doctor era,
Ooh.
which is
How's
why my
that going?
PFP changed from the 3rd to the 4th.
Nice. You're updating us as you go through
As I go, yeah.
subliminal messaging. There you go.
Yeah. Controversial opinion. The most popular classic Doctor is pretty good. No
Dude,
way.
I never would have guessed. Dude, that's awful.
But yeah, it's generally a really solid era. I did the whole first season, and I think only the first story of the 2nd season. Tom Baker is fantastic in the role.
Mhm.
Just like brilliant, insane energy.
Insane, man.
He's so the one I just finished with is almost like
The serious one.
sort of like a James Bond charming old guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4th Doctor is a shrooms user.
These are drugs.
Is pretty much
based.
what I would say. The stories for this one, at least in the beginning, I know they change it later, are like very like almost like gothic horror. They blessed the BBC for this, but they stopped doing 6-parters for every story. So it's
Hallelujah.
it's 3 4-part stories and then 1 6-part story per season. Thank you. It makes the pacing so much better in every story.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
Genesis of the Daleks was in the 1st season, and it's considered one of the best stories that they've ever done ever. It was pretty good.
Nice. Very cool.
Now one of you guys got to go.
Yeah,
You.
Shaymin. Me?
Yeah, you. I started the
Me?
episode.
Okay. All right.
You.
That's fair. That's fair. So I've been rewatching a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho. I've
Ooh.
gotten all the way through
So based.
the Dark Tournament arc, and now I'm like basically at the tail end of the Dark Detective arc. I'm pretty sure that's what it's labeled as, with like all the fun stuff there. And Yu Yu Hakusho, for people that don't know, made by the guy that did Hunter x Hunter, because it was like his thing before he did Hunter x Hunter. And if you watch Hunter x Hunter, you're like, oh, I see where a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho stuff plays into the ability of Hunter x Hunter. A lot of the character archetypes, a lot of the kind of general design scheme of some of the characters too. You're like, oh, that's just Hiei, or that's just, oh wow. But Yu Yu Hakusho is such a solid show, such a solid manga, really good pacing, and never really any fluff. Like it's always, maybe in some areas here and there with some fights they'll like drag it out for like an extra episode or two, but
welcome to shonen anime. Like,
exactly, it's shonen. Like you're gonna have to expect that. But compared to like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or One Piece, that go on for like hundreds of episodes, Yu Yu Hakusho is like a solid 116 episodes. Just that solid block, and you could just go through that, and you get a nice kind of complete story. And Dark Tournament arc's just one of the best tournament arcs, if not in my opinion. I talked to one of our other friends about it. We both agree that Dark Tournament arc is probably the best tournament arc in anime, just in general.
Easily top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
I have like 1 or 2 that maybe I would put above it, but like it changes. It's easily one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it's holy,
and like it's such a good show. All the characters are so strong, such well-defined characters. Like, check it out. It's worth checking out. Like,
and it gets so weird at the end in such a good way.
Yeah,
it becomes
for sure.
It's gonna sound negative, but it moves on from the premise of the series so far in a positive way, where it becomes something so totally different.
Yeah, there's a lot of tonal shifts within Yu Yu Hakusho that feel very natural. Like you grow with these characters, and as they grow, their enemies and the opposition they face changes with them. Where it starts off as a very kind of fun, plucky detective, ghost fighting story, and then goes full fucking like shonen crazy power shit, but in like the best way.
And then at the end, it becomes a weird philosophical, metaphysical story.
That's cool.
Like it becomes an insanely depressing philosophical.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Like I know, I've been telling you to watch Yu Yu Hakusho for forever, Shaymin, but you really got it. It's
Yu Yu
so
Hakusho is great. It's great.
So
I like it. I'm not sure how popular this is, but I think it absolutely destroys Hunter x Hunter.
Me too. Yeah.
I think it leaves Hunter x Hunter in the dust, and I think that's unpopular because of a lot of people, especially in the modern day, love Hunter x Hunter. But I think Yu Yu Hakusho just not even close.
Yeah, like Hunter x Hunter's, like it's good in its own respect, but like I love Yu Yu Hakusho so much more.
Also, as a manga reader, the Hunter x Hunter manga sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
The anime is the better version of that piece of media.
Once again, another thing on my infinite to-do list. But yes.
Yeah, we should cover Yu Yu Hakusho at some point. I think that would be cool.
No, we won't. Wink.
Oh. You're right. We won't.
All right, now us two have gone. Do you know whose turn it is now?
How's albums?
We don't have a fourth member. What?
How's albums for you? Because I listen to like infinitely more music.
Go for it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I listen to Weezer Blue Album.
This is a variety show. We talk about a variety of subjects.
It's more pretentious. This is more of an artist, I guess. Like in general.
Mm-hmm.
But
say it.
Bjork.
Commit. Yeah, we know Bjork.
Yeah, Vespertine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fucking lovely album. I love how weird and spacey it can be. there's a lot of variety in her sound choices and stuff like that, and her vocals obviously are great because that's what she's known for. This is a very popular album. I know everybody listens to it, but
Yeah.
I've listened to it like fucking 8 times in the past like 2-3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your favorite song from the album, or is it just kind of like it's all just meshes so well together?
I love pagan poetry. That one's very catchy and fun. I love the end ballad. It's basically about her kind of being hypnotized by I assume a man or some other lover. I mean it says him in there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to assume.
Well, they kind of yeah, it's Matt. There's lots of ritual chanting and like kind of cultish imagery in that song, and a lot of the music there. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She's a good vocalist. I like to space out and chill to her.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Bjork is pretty cool.
She's a good artist. It's not like she's one of the most popular.
I almost
singers.
exclusively know her through interviews.
Yeah,
She's very
same.
wacky.
I do not
very
watch.
wacky.
I do not listen to a lot of Bjork,
don't know
but
her
I've
through
watched a
interviews.
ton of
Actually,
her interviews. Are funny as fuck.
Dude, yeah, they're so wacky.
She's a character.
Well, yeah, she loves that epic presentation. Well, maybe not.
Well, it's
epic,
not that.
but
It's just she's
weird.
very like.
She's very like how you say it?
My brain wants to say quirky, but that's such a lame way of saying
No,
it.
oh god, it's on the tip of my
I mean,
tongue.
it's similar
but,
to like Lady Gaga. At least I presume.
Oh no, not
Or
in
is it
interviews.
Not in interviews.
no,
What's she like in interviews?
it's like
She
oh god, what's the word?
is she like spaced out and like, or she just goofy?
She's
She's
kind of
kind of almost like alien.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's
what I
like-
assume. She presents like that.
yeah,
Like she's not really from this planet.
Mhm.
yeah.
She's on a
She's
different.
very entertaining to watch. Like she
Yeah.
gives very interesting answers to questions and goes off on strange tangents and has like a very
Yeah.
weird cadence.
Mhm.
So yeah, like a very alien type of person.
I mean, it feels like
Otherworldly, I guess, because alien sounds negative. Otherworldly.
No, it's a good thing. Like I would consider like David Bowie as an artist, like Alien specifically.
Mm-hmm.
David Bowie in interviews is a bit more grounded.
Yeah.
I assume.
But Bowie just had like a lot of very occult interests and a lot of like magic and aliens and conspiratorial stuff.
I would say
like,
also with
throughout his
Bowie,
songs.
it was also slightly more on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
it
don't
was-
think Bjork is playing a character at all.
no, Bjork's just being
I think
very
Bjork
just
is so
straight up. Like
artsy and in a good way.
yeah.
This is the good end of that
Mhm.
because it's interesting.
Yeah, we'll send you an interview later.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But yeah, any closing thoughts on either Killer7 or anything else, guys?
Make sure to watch the second episode and the
Yeah,
first
it'll
one
be
if
out.
you wanna, but
It was a little long. We know.
yeah, the first one's long. We get it. We know.
know.
No, but it's a variety hour because each hour is just
Is
a
a different
variety
thing.
of topics. Yeah,
Hey, we got a
Which is it-
YouTube
which was
comment.
it?
They roasted us. That's awesome. Shout
I
out to
love
that
it.
guy.
Oh,
That
did
guy's
you
awesome.
just check? Yeah.
No, I know. We
Okay.
but
Well, we got those comments outside of the comment section.
Oh, yeah,
everybody's
no, I
roasting
know.
us. Yeah.
but episode 2, Hellboy, super fun. That was a fun read. Check it out. It's brief. It's
It's gonna be right here wherever I point the arrow at in editing. I don't know which direction I'm gonna put
Somewhere.
it. I don't know which direction I chose.
Put it everywhere. Just put it everywhere.
and then we have
Like
all of our
down there, I
socials and
think.
stuff all within our channel's bio
Description
and
down
within the
below, too.
description. check it out. Leave a comment, thumbs up. You know, if you like us,
if you
subscribe.
like the show, yeah, like and subscribe, or I'm gonna like kill one of these guys, I think.
Yeah.
And absorb their soul, maybe.
Yeah, and become a Killer 3. You killered the 3. You are the Killer 3.
I killered the 3. Oh shit! I killered the 7. Oh no!
Oh shit!
What a good
What
game.
have I done?
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I don't know if we're gonna revisit
Don't forget,
Suda
recommend.
5-1 in a while.
Certainly not within the next couple episodes.
No, for sure not.
no, but I definitely think eventually I would like to kind of delve into more Suda 5-1 stuff.
I'm
yeah.
already familiar with Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
other one I know about. No More Heroes, but I know very little about it.
He's
Same.
he's a great director. I will also say, lately, specific like little last tidbit before we close off.
Sure.
In Travis Strikes Back is the mini game they put into No More Heroes to kind of reestablish the character. The introduction to the main villain of the game, he was hired. His name's Batman. But he an assassin was hired to kill him, and that assassin is revealed in the trailer in the beginning of the game too. I believe in the beginning of the game.
It's revealed almost immediately that this character is
Dan Smith.
Oh,
Dan
neat.
Smith specifically. So
Nice.
That's
So
the
there's a
most
little bit of
Killer7 content we've got in.
yeah. So we're definitely gonna have some connecting threads, I guess.
Hey, fingers crossed in case they ever make anything else. I mean, Suda.
Yeah, Killer 8,
I think it's too late at this point. for
Killer
that.
9, Killer 14,
Killer 8 already
double
came
it.
out. When you beat the game, it's called Killer 8.
Killer 8 is actually a mode.
Yeah, it's the final version. You play as
Yeah.
Garcian at the end. Like young Garcian. He has a Tommy gun and shreds through
Oh.
everything.
That's fun.
It's also insane hard mode, so it's probably less fun. Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe and all of that stuff, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Goodbye.
You can go now. Bye.
Get out.
Doors over there.
Doors right there. Doors right there.
Go to
It
the
was
Harmon
right
room.
there.
Save your game.
Save. Yeah, that's a
Don't-
Harmon room. I gotta go save. I gotta go
Power of
save.
progress like me.
Yeah, I gotta go save my game, guys.
All right, cut it. Cut it.
Yeah.
Cut it. Cut it.
Yeah.
Cut it.
We'll just say